Good evening. Good evening, and welcome to our general membership meeting for Local 770. This is our second quarterly meeting for 2026. I will be repeating myself as we let folks in. My name is Danny Garcia. I'm the Secretary Treasurer for Local 770. The other panelists who you see will introduce themselves as they share back their report. We do have translation available in Spanish, and shortly, Alex, the translator, will walk you through how to be able to get the translation. We also, at the bottom of your screen, um, you will have a Q&A box to be able to enter your questions. We recommend that you kind of listen to the meeting, but and hopefully that we're able to answer some of your questions. But if you feel sometimes because of time, folks want to enter the question, we do have our staff here that will also be looking out for those questions and answering them as the meeting is going along. So again, try to put that in the Q&A. Once again, welcome to our general membership meeting. This is the second quarterly meeting for Local 770 being held on Zoom. Our first three quarterly meetings will be held on Zoom. Our fourth one to end the year will be held in our selected offices, and we'll get more information when we get there. Once again, I'm Danny Garcia. I am your Secretary Treasurer, and welcome. We will have translation available, and we'll walk you through that shortly. We also we'll have a Q&A where you can type in your questions, or if you want to wait toward the end of the agenda, we will be calling on folks to take live questions and answer those. Should we give it another 30 seconds, or should we get started? Think we're good? Okay. Well, welcome. Once again, my name is Danny Garcia. I am the Secretary's Treasurer for Local 770. Our President, Kathy Finn, is traveling. So we do expect her to jump on the call at some point, but she'll probably be driving from the airport to her house. At this moment, I'm going to ask Alec, who's will be the interpreter, to walk us through how to be able to for those who want translation to Spanish to be able to get that. Alex?
Thank you, Danny. Yes, good evening, everyone. We're offering live interpretation in Spanish during this meeting. If you wish to hear Spanish interpretation, please click the interpretation button at the bottom right corner of your Zoom screen below the globe icon. If you're joining via the Zoom smartphone app, select your language by clicking More below the three dots at the bottom right corner of your screen. Select language interpretation and choose Spanish and click Done. If you wish to hear only the interpreters and not the original speakers, be sure to click Mute the original audio. Please, everyone, also English speakers, please do join the English channel in case there are any comments being interpreted from Spanish into English. Buenas noches, estamos ofreciendo interpretación en vivo en español durante esta reunión. Si desea escuchar la interpretación en español, haga clic bajo el botón Interpretation, que significa interpretación, en la parte inferior derecha de la pantalla Zoom, debajo del icono de un globo terráqueo. Si se está uniendo a través de la aplicación Zoom para teléfono inteligente, seleccione su idioma haciendo clic en More, que significa más, bajo los tres puntos en la esquina inferior derecha de su pantalla. Seleccione Language Interpretation, interpretación del idioma. Después elija Spanish y haga clic en Done, que significa listo. Si desea escuchar solo a los intérpretes y no a los oradores originales, asegúrese de hacer clic en Mute the Original Audio, que significa silenciar audio original. Danny, I pass it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. So as Alex was saying, at the bottom of your screen, you'll see the interpretation. Make sure to select either English or Spanish. And we'll get started now. The interpretation for folks who are on Zoom. For those of you who are calling in, Unfortunately, it's not available. But if you wish to ask a question, you would press *6 to unmute and *9 to raise your hand. So we'll keep reminding folks throughout the call that this feature is available for those folks that are calling in. As I mentioned, President Kathy Fayden is traveling, so there will not be a president's report today. So we're going to move on to our campaign reports, and we'll be starting off with our Leadership Developing Organizing Director, Deputy Director, Richard Lovato.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Richard Lovato. I'm the Deputy Director for Leadership Development. Just wanted to take a few minutes and talk about the incredible progress that we've been having with the field team. We've had many actions and many one-on-one conversations with our pharmacists and the pharmacy campaign. And while the companies continue to delay negotiations and avoid addressing issues that pharmacists have been raising, we're still continuing to build power, but the company continues to push back on these members and delay negotiations. They've sent some clear messages. We recently had a petition that went around that pharmacists all signed, and they delegated that petition inside the negotiations. Obviously, the company was not too happy with that. But still, that message was not enough. We had to take it to the public, where we had some public interactions in front of the store, asking the public, the pharmacist, the those the sorry, I'm sorry, the customers, asking them to sign on to a petition as well, supporting these pharmacists and asking them to talk about the issues that they've been having inside the pharmacy. But still we've had over 500 of those surveys that were taken, and these customers have made it very clear that they support their pharmacist and want better staffing and increased care. And they want to make sure that their voices are heard as well. So we are taking those surveys that we have had, and we are delegating those to the company as well. That delegation will happen on June 15th. We will be having an action that will be loud and clear to the company at the Albertsons headquarters, letting those people know that the customers have said that they're tired of waiting in these long lines. They're tired of having that their prescriptions are not being filled in a proper manner. And so we will be having that here on the 15th of this month. So we encourage everybody to come out for that as well. Meanwhile, right now we're gearing up towards a strike with the pharmacists. We're going out right now having one-on-one conversations with our pharmacists and asking them a clear and cut message, like, are you ready to strike? Are you ready to support a ULP strike? And so we have had some overwhelming progress thus far, but we're just starting that out. Pharmacists are tired of waiting. They're tired of being pushed aside. They're tired of also being called simply complainers. That's the words that the company has used at the negotiating tables. And we're moving forward. And so we're asking them to sign a pledge card saying that they are ready to support a ULP strike and vote yes on a ULP strike. We're hoping not that we don't have to get there, but obviously we are gearing up for that right now. And pharmacists are sending a clear message right now that they're tired of waiting, they're tired of the company stalling, and they're tired of pushing negotiations off so far in advance. Right now, the next negotiations isn't until the end of this month, June 30th and July 1st. And so the company has sent a very clear message that their offer is enough, and they feel that simply these complaints are simply just that, just complaints, and that they do not address the everyday needs that the pharmacists are asking for. And so while we're continuing to do that, we're also gearing up for CVS. We've had our first of two power in negotiation trainings that was put on by UC Berkeley this past Saturday. The CVS contract is set to expire about a year from now. And we're going to be gearing up for that very early on. So we did have that first of many trainings that took place this Saturday, and we'll have another one this following Saturday, getting these former bargaining committee and a lot of new faces ready for the next piece of their contract campaign. And so We're setting the framework now for that campaign. We'll give a lot more information as that's to come, but that's pretty much it for the field team right now. Again, like Danny said, if you guys have questions or anything like that, please leave them in the chat. If you're on phone, you could press *6 later on in this meeting, and *9 as well.
Thank you, Richard. Yeah, you can put your questions in the Q&A. It's easier to answer it from there. And also, if any of you have your prescription at a Ralph's, at an Albertsons, at a Pavilions or Bonds, stop by, talk to your pharmacist, show support, or even if you don't have your, you don't get your prescription there, just stop by and let the pharmacist know that you will support them if need be. I think going through a campaign, whether you're Kaiser or grocery or in the cannabis packing house, having support from your brother and sister, union brother and sister is always welcoming. So thank you for that, Richard. Next, we'll pass it over to Mari Cruz. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Danny. Hi, everyone. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, or evening, really. The sunlight and this, going into summer really tricks me these days. But welcome, everyone. I'm Maricruz Cesena, the organizing director for Local 770. And I'll be sort of brief on this report, but just want to let folks know that as our union has been doing a kick-ass job with recent contract fights and really increasing the engagement of our membership, we're also now creating the space for doing more external organizing and getting more members into our union. So at the moment, we've got several organizing projects that are happening. As you can imagine, we don't really talk about the targets that we're going after because we don't want the company to get wind of what we're doing. It's very important, actually, that we are able to maintain that level of secrecy and maintain these campaigns undercover as long as possible in order for the workers that are a part of those campaigns to really be able to build the strength that they're going to need. And so our organizing department right now is tackling building organizing committees that are like very similar to what you all do when you're fighting for a contract and building your contract action teams. So instead of fighting for a contract, or I mean, they will be fighting for a contract eventually for their first contract, but there's a couple of hurdles, right? Before that, they're fighting for a union election and then also to have the strength to win their first contract. And as we focus on that, we have those projects that are going on. They are in our core industries. They are in grocery, retail health, cannabis, of course, that's always been happening at Local 770 since I can remember, actually. And then in addition to that, there is a new industry that's sort of developing in terms of their organizing interest and capacity, and that is specialty coffee, right? And so we already represent some workers at La Colombe, and there are other specialty coffee workers that have expressed interest in the past in getting organized. It's a really exciting and progressive bunch of young folks that are there doing really amazing organizing. So it's a really cool space, know that that 770 is sort of going into. And I would just like to state, right, that our goal in doing a lot of the external organizing is obviously to grow the membership of our union because that translates to power, right? We're focusing on our core industries because next time you go back to the bargaining table, it's important that you're going back and that there is more density in your industry. So that's true for grocery. It's true for our CVS members that are going back to bargaining with a lot of non-union workers out there. And so we build strength by doing that, right? By being able to get more workers into the union. So I would just say, like, for anyone that's out there listening, that's part of this call, if you've got friends or family that are in some of these industries that are working non-union, please let us know, right? Or if you yourself have a second job in one of these industries and are interested in forming a union in your second space, let us know about that too. I'm going to put the organizing email into the chat, but reach out to us at organizing@ufcw770.org because that is how we're going to continue to build power and strength, both, for the existing membership and for the industries that are out there, right, that need to improve. So with that, I will pass it back to Danny. Thank you all.
Thank you, Maricruz. And with that, we're going to go on to our Kaiser report. Ron?
Hi, everyone. I'm Ron Solano. I am the Southern California lead for Kaiser, as well as I cover West LA, South Bay, and Fontana, Ontario, Riverside. So I'll be giving the Kaiser report. I'm happy to report that we also have 2 additional people now coming on board as union reps after a long time of trying to find people to cover. I'm happy to announce that we will have Marcy Correa that will be covering the current Bakersfield area, as well as Andres Medina, who will be covering the LAMC, Pan City, and Woodland Hills service areas. So they'll be transitioning in the near future, and they'll be helping me out covering those areas. And so we're happy to have additional people in the Kaiser field team. But with that, obviously, we know that the Labor Management Partnership has continued to start. We restarted LMP. And so those discussions and councils have now been starting in all the medical centers. And so we're underway on making sure that everyone is starting their UBTs. So we want to make sure we encourage everyone to be having those UBT meetings. Gerard Matarazzo, who's our labor liaison, has been going out as well, making sure that those UBT meetings have been restarting. That's a critical meetings to have, especially with our PSP. I'm sure most of you received a text message or email today or yesterday in regards to that PSP grievance that we filed, that we're fighting for. The company did respond to us that they denied our grievance, but we are pushing that grievance into arbitration. So that is a step that we're taking right now. And so we are going to be battling Kaiser into fighting for that PSP for last year, but it's very important that you guys continue having your UBT meetings and projects, because that is what influences your PSP payouts. And so I encourage you guys to continue having your UBT meetings and going to your council meetings and doing all those projects. Moving forward, we're starting to having our staffing committees. We're starting up our meetings now, as well as all the other committees that are coming up. So if you're participating in any of those meetings, I encourage you to start getting those meetings up and set up as well. Because now that we're back in partnership, we're starting to reestablish all of those meetings, and we want to make sure that all of our members are active participating in them as well. We also have several contract enforcement issues that are remaining active. Obviously, we have the new wage rates and longevity increases negotiated in this contract that they're scheduled to take effect June 26th. So all the raises that we reached our tentative agreements on is going to be paid on June 26th. The retroactive payments are going to be paid out a couple weeks after, so it'll be on a separate check. So just keep an eye out on that. So just a reminder again, June 26th is the payout for the wages, and then the retro checks will be paid out additional weeks after that. Okay. When it comes to staffing concerns, I know for pharmacy, we had some contract language. And so we just had our first meeting yesterday with all the Southern California leaders. That was our first meeting with the company. They did provide some information, and we have another additional date that we have scheduled to just kind of review all the information that they have provided. And this is in regards to the full-time positions as well as the rotation language that got put into the contract, this recent contract. And so we're still looking into the data that they're providing, and we want to make sure that we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's, and that they're following the contracts. So before anything is implemented, we're looking into all the data that they're providing and making sure that we're doing our due diligence on making sure that these positions and the way that they're doing the rotations is correctly. When it comes to the clinical lab scientist, Darren, our contract enforcement deputy director, and I have met with the company. Obviously, they have given us notice that they are planning to move one of the laboratories into Santa Clarita. So we're in discussions on what the move is going to be happening and how they're going to be transitioning these positions. And so we are going to be in negotiations and how that's going to be taking effect and what role we're going to be having and how it's going to be handled, making sure that all of our members are protected, as well as how it's going to be implemented. So as soon as we find out all the information, we will be providing all that information to all of our members that will be affected. When it comes to Kern is also having their meetings in regards to the equity issues. They're following up meetings in regards to how the equity plan is going to be taking place. So they've had a few meetings and have reported back out to their stewards, and so that is still continuing. So I'm happy to report that they're doing a good job on how that is going to be implemented. So currently, I'm actually out in Orange County for the Alliance Steering Committee. We're going to be here for the next couple of days, kind of figuring out how this new alliance is going to be rolling out. So hopefully we'll be having some more news on what's going to be coming up and how we're going to be working out as a whole entire team. But with 770, we're trying to make sure that all of our members are actively engaged. And so for our stewards, we have a stewards meeting that's planned out for July 21st. To kind of do a debrief, and then half of the time is going to be kind of figuring out how we're going to be communicating and doing contract enforcement discussions and member engagement. And so that is the report that I have for our Kaiser report.
Thank
So I
you.
turn it back to you, Danny.
A lot of good information. I'm glad to hear that we have a date for the wage increase and retro. So that's really good. I know our members have been waiting for their well-deserved raises. And now to give packing house and contract compliance, Jesus.
Thank you, Danny. I'm Jesus Ramos, the field staff that's in charge of the packing house division. I'm going to start with the packing house division report. First, we will hold the contract ratification vote at Palisades Ranch this upcoming Thursday on the company's latest offer. Our members previously rejected the company's initial proposal because they felt it did not recognize their hard work and contributions. Since then, the company has improved its offer, and we look forward to presenting the proposal to the membership for their vote. Next, we continue to communicate with Rogers Poultry regarding an extension of the current agreement. At the same time, we are actively exploring health insurance options and are in discussions with several providers to identify benefit plans that offer improved coverage at a lower cost for Rogers members. Lastly, for the Packing House Division report, we continue to provide representation and servicing to our members at all packing house facilities and restaurant depot locations by addressing workplace issues, enforcing contract provisions, and supporting our members. Our members also continue to actively enforce their contracts by filing grievances to ensure the agreements are properly followed. That's the packing house report. Now I'll give the contract enforcement report for Contract Enforcement Director Eric Aviles. Since our last general membership meeting, our contract enforcement department has continued to focus on making sure our contracts are being enforced and that members are made whole when employers violate the agreement. From January 2026 through May 2026, UFCW 770 opened 845 grievances across the logo. During that same period, we recovered over $112,000 in settlement amounts for members. A major focus of our enforcement work continues to be Article 6J, which makes sure members are paid the proper hire rate when they are assigned to work in a higher classification. For example, if a courtesy clerk is assigned to work at the check stand, they should be paid properly for that higher classification work. Based on our grievance data, we have continued to see strong results in both Article 6J higher classification enforcement and Article 5U classification enforcement. For Article 6J, we identified 82 grievances and recovered over $61,000 for members. These cases show why it is important that higher classification work is reported and documented, so members are paid correctly when they are assigned work outside their classification. For Article 5U, we identified 51 grievances and recovered $241.46 for members. Even though the dollar amount is small, these cases are important because they help make sure members are working in the right classification and paid correctly. Together, Article 5U and Article 6J enforcement resulted in 133 grievances and $61,334.20 recovered for our members. That's the report. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Jesus, for sharing back those two reports, packing house and contract enforcement. So now for our communications report, we're going to ask Joyce.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Joyce Robertson. I recently joined the communications team here at 770, but I've been around for a little while. Tonight, I want to talk to you about our new communications committee. We started the committee in April and since have had 2 meetings with members from various companies and industries. The goal of the committee is to activate members in the digital space that are so important in winning our campaigns. Our members are organizers at work, so it makes sense that we work with them to organize them on social media. So far, members have pitched ideas, created content that we've used on our official channels, and been treated to a mini seminar from the LA Trade Tech on new media for unions. So if you want to learn more about how you can amplify our fight, email us at comms@ufcw770.org and we'll add you to the committee. And that's our communications report.
Thank you, Joyce, for that. Next, to give the cannabis research collective bargaining report will be Matt.
Thanks, Danny. Good evening, everyone. Matt O'Malley. I'm the Director of Research and Collective Bargaining at Local 770. In 2026, we've had a lot of bargaining activity in our cannabis division, as seems to be the case every year. Currently, we have open contracts that are in various stages of bargaining with Green Cross of Torrance, Sweet Flower, Catalyst. And we have coming up at the end of this month on the 24th, an arbitration hearing for our EASE members who have been fighting for almost exactly a year, going back to July 1 of 2025, over the interpretation of the wage scale in that contract. So we're hoping to win that arbitration, get our members the back pay they deserve, and have that fixed on a going forward basis for the remainder of the 3-year agreement. We've had a couple of new organizing victories in the last quarter as well. Our STIZI contract affords us what's called accretion, meaning that when the company opens new locations, we're able to go in there, and if a majority of the workers sign up and authorize Local 770, then they automatically get accreted into the unit and are covered by the collective bargaining agreement. So there are new STIZI locations in Linwood as well as in Torrance that came online, so adding approximately 50 new members to our local. And then lastly, we met this morning to discuss a successor agreement for our coffee members at La Colombe. We're going to be pulling together a meeting of a bargaining committee later in the month of June. This contract expired at the end of May. And this will be the first, or I should say the second contract for our La Colombe members. And we look forward to making some significant improvements on the first contract we ratified a couple of years ago. So that's my report for cannabis and collective bargaining. I will hand it back to Danny for the next report.
Thank you, Matt. Next, we're going to ask Isabel for an update on our political department, and I'm sure she's got some results to share.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Let's go see if I can. Uh, all right. So, hi, everyone. My name is Isabel Franz. I work here at UFCW 770 in the political department. So, we had an election on June 2nd. Hopefully, you all voted. Everyone gets a mail-in ballot. So, hopefully, you filled that out at home and then popped it in the mail or walked it into a voting site. I am happy to announce that 95% of UFCW 770 endorsed candidates won their race or advanced to the runoff that will happen in the general election in November. That is so exciting, and that is thanks to all of your hard work. We're electing labor champions all across the Central Coast and LA County, and so we're really, really excited about that. Out of our 7 endorsed candidates for Los Angeles City Council, 6 of them won their race outright. That means that we all save time, energy, and money going into November, and we can focus on some of our races that we still have to tie up those loose ends. But it's really exciting stuff. 100% of our endorsed candidates in Santa Barbara County and Ventura counties advanced forward to the November election. So none of those did our endorsed candidates lose and won't be moving forward to the general election. So really, really exciting stuff. To highlight a few of the races that are most important to us, the UFCW Western States Council, which is our statewide body that encompasses all of the UFCW locals throughout the state, endorsed Javier Becerra for governor. You may have heard that Tom Steyer officially conceded the race today, so we know who is going into the general election in November. It will be our endorsed candidate, Javier Becerra, who comes from a union family. He himself has been a union member, and we're really excited about electing a pro-labor champion into the governor's seat. And he will face off against a really anti-union Fox News correspondent, Steve Hilton. So we are going to use all of our energy across the state of California to make sure that we elect a union member into the governor's seat for California. Karen Bass for Los Angeles mayor finished in first place. That race, as you can see on this slide, has also been called for Karen Bass in first place, and then Nithya Raman, LA City Council member, will also be advancing to the November runoff. So we are going to have a big fight ahead to make sure that we keep pro-labor Mayor Bass in office. Mayor Bass has sat down at negotiating tables, has shown up for UFCW members, has been there every step of the way as we beat back the merger, as we have had big contract fights. She has always been willing to do what it takes to get those contracts across the finish line and show up for labor in the city of Los Angeles. So we really want to make sure that she stays our mayor. Also, Santa Barbara County Supervisor Laura Capps won re-election with over 70% of the vote. That means that election is done. We can stick with Laura Capps as a labor-endorsed supervisor in Santa Barbara County. That's a huge win for us. And so this is really exciting. There are tons of races that we still need to win as we go into November. We need to win back Congress. We need to make sure that some of these races that still have loose ends, that we're able to tie those up, that we're able to make sure that our endorsed candidates make it all the way across the finish line. And you all will be the secret sauce that can make that happen. So I'm excited to work with all of you in the coming months to make sure that we get pro-labor people across the state of California fighting for us in every elected seat from Congress on down to all of our local races. So this is an exciting time to really make sure that we can have pro-union folks. On the policy side, I have a couple of exciting things to share. I know in March I had talked about self-checkout ordinances. As you all may have heard, there are some self-checkout ordinances that have passed in Long Beach and a couple of other cities. Our self-checkout ordinance in the city of Los Angeles passed city council unanimously. It had so much support that they actually placed it on the consent agenda, which means they didn't even take it up for discussion. They said, we all are in support, we'll vote on it. It passed unanimously. It now goes to the city legislative analyst's office to get drafted, to get the official language. We are working to have that language mirror the Long Beach ordinance with 3 self-checkout machines to every 1 staff member and requiring a staffed lane open at all times. So we're excited to move through that process and hopefully get it past City Council. And we will lean on all of you to show up and talk about how detrimental self-checkout has been to your jobs and to your shopping experiences. And then finally, we have officially introduced a self-checkout ordinance in West Hollywood. We're currently drafting that motion with city staff, and we're hopefully going to have a vote before the city council this summer. So again, if you work in West Hollywood, you live in West Hollywood, or you spend time in West Hollywood, we'd love to have you come out and speak at that city council meeting. Thank you all so much, and I will talk to you next meeting. Back to you, Danny.
Thank you, Isabel. A lot of good work done there. So thank you everyone who supported the candidates that UFCW 770 endorsed. And I'm glad now to announce that Kathy Flynn, our president, has landed. She's gotten home safely and she was able to join us. So Kathy, let you share if there's anything you want to share about your trip.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make it to this meeting at all because I was in Minnesota. The once every 4 years, the AFL-CIO, which is the umbrella body for the entire United States and actually some beyond, um, has its convention where it sort of sets a policy for the entire labor movement for the next 4 years, was having its convention this week. So I was there, and I actually had to leave a little early because I have a meeting, important Kaiser meeting to be at tomorrow. So I left the convention a little bit early, but it was very, very exciting, to hear certain things. So there's a big focus on organizing, obviously, and there was some excitement about the fact that at the convention 4 years ago, they had set there was a resolution passed to organize 1 million new workers to grow the labor movement by 1 million workers within the next 10 years, 1 million workers in a decade. And actually, they achieved it already. In just 4 years. So since the last convention 4 years ago, the labor movement has actually grown by over 1 million members. And it's very exciting. They're implementing a lot of new organizing tools, which they're making available to all the unions that are involved. In fact, I got a training on this organizing tool that I know Mara Cruz likes, and I actually went to a little micro training on it and got a 10-minute training about it. And I got our new director of organizing for our international to go to the micro training and get trained on it too, so that we can use it more at UFCW. And a lot of other unions are using it. So that was very exciting. And they set a new goal to, between now and the next convention, organize 2 million workers. So that's the new goal of the AFL over the next 4 years, to bring 2 million more workers into unions and continue to grow the labor movement. And they will be providing lots of resources and things to all the affiliate unions. So that was very exciting. There was also a lot of talk about politics, and I will say, um, around the country and even here in California, of course, like not everyone agrees, uh, on politics. There can be a lot of different opinions about politics, but I'm just going to say I'm pretty glad that we do live in California, because hearing about the struggles that some other areas are having with respect to trying to elect candidates that will support worker issues is very difficult in some parts of the country. So there was a lot of talk about how to, get more folks to understand that, and it's not necessarily about even Democrat or Republican, although generally Democrats do support worker issues uh, more frequently and strongly than Republicans do. But um, it's really about finding those candidates that are going to, uh, vote in a way that supports workers. So not all Democrats do that either. Like there's a lot of disappointments sometimes with Democrats. So it's really not about the party. It's really about who understands the issues of working people and who is going to be a champion, and not just vote one way or another, but actually help draft legislation and push legislation, like the self-checkout bill. They also, at the AFL-CIO convention, they had a whole presentation about surveillance pricing, which is a huge issue now for UFCW, but the whole labor movement is taking it on as an issue because it affects workers, obviously, in our grocery store, but it also affects everyone who shops, because anyone who's a shopper could have prices changed on them based on all kinds of different things, including the zip code you live in, your family size, what you normally buy. And so surveillance pricing is a thing that everybody's concerned about. Um, so anyway, there was a lot of talk about health and safety in the workplace. There was a lot of talk about AI and how artificial intelligence is going to affect work and things that the labor movement is working together on to try to limit how artificial intelligence impacts work. So anyway, it was very exciting. I was there for 3 days, and there was just a lot of stuff that the labor movement as a whole is moving. So it was pretty exciting, and then I was going to answer a question. Oh, there was a question that came in the Q&A about there was a question in the Q&A about GLP-1 drugs and why you can't just get them at CVS or through Caremark at your local pharmacy. So in our last bargaining, there was an agreement uh, to move self-injectable drugs to the pharmacy to make it easier for people to pick up. At the same time, before that happened, we did not have an agreement on using GLP-1s for weight loss with the employers. So GLP-1s were only able to be used if you had a diagnosis of diabetes, or I think that's the only thing that they're used for. So we also reached an agreement that we would create basically a bright line rule about GLP-1s for weight loss, which I think was, and I don't have it in front of me, so I'm off the top of my head, I think it was a BMI of 35.
Yes, I looked it up during this meeting. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you had a BMI of 35 or above, um, you could get a GLP-1. You don't have to have a diagnosis of diabetes or anything. And so, but in order to do that, there had to be a different kind of pre-approval process that right now, Caremark was unable to do. So for temporarily right now, um, if you are getting a GLP-1 for weight loss only, which is a new thing that just also got approved at a BMI of 35 or above, you have to go through a process that goes through the trust fund office. And so that process is separate from all the other self-injectables for right now. We are going to try to, move it at some point into the regular process, but temporarily Caremark could not do the process that we were requesting. So for right now, that's the thing, but it is an improvement because before this, um, the employers didn't even we had no agreement with the employers about GLP-1s for weight loss. So
And Kathy, I would just
yeah.
add too that I think it's important to clarify that this is for members in our food trust.
Yes, thank you, Matt. That's very helpful. Yes, so this applies to members in the food trust. So these were things that were negotiated within our food agreement that was ratified a little over a year ago, or right around a year ago, actually a little less than a year ago, because I think it was right around July. I remember it was right around the first week of July that we got the deal. So yes, so a little less than a year ago. Thank you, Matt, for clarifying that. Um, and I think that's was all I was going to report on because I wasn't really actually even planning on being here necessarily. So I'm going to turn it back over to Danny.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for sharing that. So Kathy, we don't happen to have our poll questions up. We don't have access to getting them up. I think we need Jennifer. So for the sake of time, I think we take some questions right now while we're trying to get the poll questions up so we can finish our business.
Okay.
So right now, if folks, I see this is the question in the Q&A. A reminder, if you can type your question in the Q&A and we can read it out loud. Or if you want to come on, you can raise your hand. If you're on the phone, you would press *6 to unmute and then *9 to raise your hand. So if you're calling in through a phone, *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute, but there was a question, seemed like it got answered. But if you wanted to come on, please raise your hand and we'll bring you up. Um, don't know if someone answered a question that maybe wants to repeat what that question was. Oh, we have a
Oh,
question.
here's an excellent question, a really excellent question.
Go ahead.
What are the best ways for new dues paying members to get involved, to get more involved in the union? So there are a lot of ways to get involved. So we have a lot of different committees. I think Joyce talked about a communications committee. So if you're interested at all in communications or the communications that go out to members, you can email comms@ufcw770.org. But we also have other committees. Obviously, you can always talk to your leadership development organizer. I don't know what industry the person is in. So in the retail industry, we have leadership development organizers who are basically the union reps that focus on uh, leadership development, which is basically talking to members that want to get more involved. That's exactly what the leadership development organizers do. So you should talk to your union rep. And if you're not in retail, there are also union reps. You have union reps that also do that same job of developing members and helping them get more involved. So I would say reach out to your union rep, get on the website and see what is going on. We send out news. I think every other Friday, a newsletter comes out that talks about all the different events that are coming up. It basically gives a little bit of news of what's happened in the last couple weeks and then gives announcements of what's coming up in the next 2 weeks. So, I mean, I love that question. And I don't know if anybody else, I think there's also politics. If you are interested in getting involved in politics, you can reach out to Isabel, who gave the political report today. She's been keeping in touch with our members that are involved in politics and has a political committee going. Um, so I think there's a lot of ways to get involved. So I love that question. And if anybody else wants to jump in with any other answers, any of the other directors have any other suggestions about how folks can get involved.
Yeah, I think you answered, Kathleen. There's another question.
Oh, can I say one other thing? So
Yeah.
somebody just put in saying, I got a text a few weeks back about a super cool member-led social club. What is that? So yeah, there's like some members. One member, Kathleen Scott, who is super interested in starting a member-led social club. And we're providing her some assistance, but it's really very member-led. And she has some other members that are helping her out, and I think they are going to be holding monthly meetings, and so you'll get some information, and anybody can show up and talk about what's happening in the store. And I think a lot of stewards have shown some interest, but I think anyone's invited. So that's what that is.
Thank you for answering that, Kathy. Is the question from Angela Baker? Can we bring her on live? Let me see. How do you bring somebody up? Do you click on?
I mean, they have to raise their hand.
Oh, okay. Well, the question is,
I just promoted Angela Baker
okay,
to
thank you.
panelist or asked her to do that. So they're rejoining now.
There we go. Hey, Angela, welcome. There you go. You're off mute. You want to ask your question?
Yeah, let's see, hold on a second. Yeah, the question I have is that I've noticed that they're cutting more hours in the stores. We no longer have a dairy closer on days that we don't have a load, but we're not getting the load fully out. We're also losing produce half of our weekends, and they're cutting down in floral, as well as our receiver is no longer working 5 days a week and receiving. Are there, I know that we were talking about helping getting the store actually covered. but it seems that they're trying to cut more and more hours from everybody in the store.
Yeah, so that's also a great question. So staffing obviously was a huge issue when we went into bargaining last year as well. We did get some new language, and we have quarterly meetings to discuss set with the company, and some language about reasonable staffing. And we are preparing. I do think we're going to have to go to arbitration about this issue. And so we are preparing to do that with collecting information. So in order for us to be able to win an arbitration, we need to collect a lot of information to show that the company is basically ignoring the commitments that they made in bargaining. So there is a form, and maybe somebody can share it. Is there a way somebody can share it? That folks can fill out, and we've been providing to the companies, when people fill them out, we let the company know which stores have problems anonymously. So your name
Right.
is not, I think there's
Yeah,
some
it's just some.
background noise. I think it's,
Sorry, I'm in the store.
okay. Yeah, maybe you can go on mute for a minute. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
So,
sorry about that.
no, that's okay. Yeah, just go on mute. Okay, thanks, Angela. And so, I'm wondering if somebody can share, if there's a way we can share in the chat or on the screen, the, I don't know if it's a QR code or a link where, they can, uh, get that Google form. But anyway, the more folks who enter things into those, we're letting the company know, and if they don't get fixed, that will be the evidence that we're going to be presenting in an arbitration eventually going forward about this issue.
Kathy, this is the staffing compliance form.
I think so.
I'm going to share something on my screen and then you tell me if it's.
Yes. Yeah, so there are a couple of things that the company agreed to in the new CBA. One of them is reasonable staffing, so reasonable levels of staffing. And the other one is every time someone calls out, they're supposed to be making an effort to bring somebody in. So they're not allowed to just say, "Oh, someone called out, we're just going to go without." They have to make an effort to call somebody in. And so um, those were the commitments that they made in bargaining. So if they are not doing that, we want people to report it. So there is a report form. This is it. And how people get to it. That's
It's
the
now in
form.
the chat. The link is now in the chat.
Okay, the link is in the chat.
Yeah,
So,
I've used that form online because we got the app last meeting we were at, or the last training I was at.
yeah, so I'm not sure if it was mentioned, but there was a steward
Yes,
training
Patrick's there.
recently
Sorry.
where we talked about both staffing and work in a higher classification. We did trainings with the stewards on this issue, as well as the issue of when courtesy clerks work in a higher classification and how to enforce the language on that issue as well. And I think Jesus probably reported on it before I got on the call.
Yeah,
That
they're
we
doing
had.
better about clocking over. That's getting better. And, before this last contract, the ASD was like going, "What do you mean I have to pay that courtesy clerk as a checker at SCO?" Like, because you put them in SCO and they're not a checker. You got to pay them. And they went, "Oh." So, it's gotten a lot better on that. But, I've just noticed that our produce, we don't have anybody in produce all day long anymore. We don't have anybody in dairy if there's not a load at night. Um, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And the training for some of our new people has been kind of a joke, unfortunately, because we just don't have the time because they're not giving us the hours.
Yeah, thanks, Angela, for bringing that up. I know that's an issue in lots and lots and lots of stores, so I'm glad that you brought it up. but we are moving forward with enforcing the language that we bargained in the contract.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kathy. I unfortunately do have to go. I have to get back in there. I'm running the shift.
Okay.
So have a great
Thanks,
day.
Angela.
Thank you,
Good to
guys.
see you.
Thank you.
Love y'all.
Okay, I think we got our poll question situation figured out, but go ahead, Kathy, if you
I was
want.
just going to say one other thing because I just see somebody, or actually, Maya put in, reminded me actually, that there are some other ways that people can get involved, member engagement. We have several constituency groups. We have an outreach constituency group that represents LGBTQ plus folks. We have a women's network group that represents women and works on women's issues. We have a minority coalition group that works on issues of discrimination. And we have, or I mean, more than discrimination, it's a group of Black members and working on developing leadership amongst those members. And then we have a United Latinos group that works on issues related to Latinos, immigration, and other things. So all of those constituency groups are areas for also leadership development and a way to get more involved in the union within a group of folks that may have similar background to you and that. So and there's going to be a new group, which maybe Maya wants to talk about because I see she has her hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, sorry, I'm using multiple devices. We also have 770 members have recently become involved with APALA, which is the Asian Pacific American Labor Alliance. And it's not a UFCW specific constituency group, though I believe one of those is in the works for Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander members. But we do have an active LA chapter of APALA, and Leilani Koki and I sit on the executive board of that chapter. So there's going to be a general meeting and a panel on ANHPI organizing this coming Tuesday, so a week from tonight. So if you want any information on that, please email fieldoffice@ufcw770.org.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be some announcements from some other constituency groups in this meeting, actually, tonight.
That is correct.
So I'm going to turn it back over to Danny to finish the business of the meeting real quick, and then we'll go to those announcements.
Yeah, thank you, Kathy. So moving on to the business reports. So I think we have figured out how to be able to vote, and Maria Cruz can walk us through that shortly. Right now, we're need approvals of the minutes for the March 10th, 2026 general membership meeting that we had. The recording is on our website. So it's been practiced instead of listening to the whole recording of the minutes that we waive the reading or listening of the minutes and of the March 26th membership meeting. So is there a motion? But first we'll get the motion and then do we have to vote on this, Kathy? We do, right? So first, do we see a motion to waive the reading of the minutes? Are you able to see hands?
Yeah, if anybody wants to make the motion, they can just put their hand up.
Has a motion, and then Armando Espinosa has second.
Okay, so there's a motion and there's a second to accept. Now we will put up the poll.
Yes, so we are going to be doing a different type of poll today because our built-in poll for Zoom is not working, but you can either, if you happen to be on a computer, you can scan that QR code, or I'm putting in the link into the chat. So you can click on this link and it'll be a survey with 3 questions. You only need to do the first question for now, which is the approval of the minutes for the March meeting, recognizing that the recording is on the website. So someone has figured it out already and has voted. And you don't need to do all 3 yet. And you can also hit skip, so you don't have to put your name down for who's answering. Your name is not required. But if you follow that link and you're able to vote, again, start with the first question, which is the one that Danny just asked, and then we'll go into the next one.
That's
So
it.
do you have to click next to get it counted?
Click next to get it counted. It looks like there's 28 surveys that are happening right now, so people have figured it out, it seems like. So again, for the first question, answer and then hit next, and the second question will populate.
But don't answer the second question yet because we haven't asked it.
Right. So
We'll
it
give it
looks like
about a few more seconds. Does this look like the voting has stopped?
It looks like it's solid at 31 people that have are responding. Actually, only 2 surveys have been completed so far. Completed, so that means all the way down to the
Oh.
third. Armando, did you have a question? Okay, I think it's going to give us the final tally once all 3 questions are answered. So maybe we can.
Well, it is showing on the screen that everybody so far has voted yes.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm getting a text from Jessica saying there's an issue with the survey. So I'm not sure what that is. Do you want to, maybe Jesse, you can come on the screen. Now 4 people have completed the survey.
Completed. That means they've answered all 3 questions though. So
No, I understand, but 30, and it says 34 people, 34 surveys are underway. So when you finish the first question, you're supposed to wait and not do it till the second question, but
correct.
I'm gonna go on mute and call Jesse real fast and see what the issue.
Armando, you have a question?
Yes, I'm getting text that the survey is working fine. So I think we can wait to hear from Kathy real quick before we move on. Sorry about that, folks. We just want to make sure we get it right.
Okay, Jesse just said when she tried to do it, it said the maximum number of people have been reached. So I'm not sure if there's some way to make sure that.
Can we put the QR code back up, Monica, so we can try it? I'll scan it myself.
Yes, give me one.
It's also in the chat. If you just go to the chat.
Yeah,
Danny,
the
it's
link is in the chat.
It says pollev.com.
I'm trying it with 2 different devices and it is letting me do.
Okay, so are we comfortable with moving on?
Were you able, did you try and were able to get in?
Yeah.
Okay.
If anyone else is having that same issue and can screenshot it and send it my way, I can put my number in the chat.
Yeah, actually, Sam just sent it to me. She can't vote on the first question either. It says poll is full. The poll has received the maximum number of responses allowed. So I'm gonna, I think
Yeah.
the best thing to do is to just hold all of these approvals over to the next meeting. Then we
Agree.
can get the poll thing working because I don't think this is, I don't think it's the right way to go about it if people are unable to vote. So I apologize for it not being set up in a way that people can vote, but I think the better thing is to present everything at the next meeting. And so we'll approve the minutes of, both meetings next time and the trustees report and things we'll have to do the whatever we're at, the second quarter and the third quarter next time. Okay, so apologize about that, but I think that's going to be better than doing it this way.
Yeah, I agree, Kathy. I think that's the right move. So we'll share back in September at the next general membership meeting. Um, we'll vote on these reports and hopefully have the poll and everything set up prior. And again, apologies for that.
You can give the membership count because that one doesn't require a vote.
Sure. Membership count for the month of May. And the food division, we have 17,981 members, down 187 members. And we're down. Recently, we have 2 Food for Less stores closed and 1 Super A store also closed. One of the Food for Less stores, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be remodeled and turned into a Rouse. So we should be getting some more members down back after the remodel. But we did have 2 stores closed for Food for Less, 1 for Super A. So we're hoping that's the last of losing members at that rate. For the drug division, we have 3,739, down 5 members. In our professional division, 1,412, down 4 members. Our barber and beauty division broke even. Meat cutter, 1,600, down 2 cutters. Meat packer, 454, a gain of 3 members. Our cannabis, 474 members. That's a loss of 1 member. So a total membership of 25,672. Currently, there are 1,059 members on withdrawal due to leave of absence. So that's the membership report. Now I know we wanted to give give an opportunity for some announcements. So if we can either bring in Sam Christian for who will share back on Juneteenth, and then either Cynthia Ayala or Maisha to report back for Pride Month. Maria Cruz, can you help us out with that?
Yes, doing that now. One second.
Thank you. Okay, and we have, I see Sam.
Hey everyone, good evening. I'm Sam Christian, Leadership Development Organizer here at UFCW Local 770, and also the chair of the Minority Coalition here at 770. I wanted to share an event that we're having and also talk a little bit about Juneteenth. So Juneteenth is observed every year on June 19th and commemorates the day in 1865 when the last enslaved African Americans in Galveston, Texas learned that they were free. That was more than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation had been issued. In 2021, President Joe Biden signed legislation making Juneteenth a federal holiday. However, Black communities all over the country have been celebrating Juneteenth for decades, long before it received national recognition or became commercially embraced. For me, Juneteenth is not only about celebrating freedom or organizing for civil rights or teaching others about Black heritage and history. It's about coming together as a community and enjoying good music, delicious food, and good company. That's why I'm excited to invite everyone to our Juneteenth Freedom Day celebration on Saturday, June 27th from 11:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Christian Force Missionary Baptist Church in Compton, California. This event is in partnership between UFCW Local 770 Minority Coalition, CBTU Southern California Under 40 Leaders, and Christian Force Missionary Baptist Church. And that is a church that our very own UFCW member, Ashley Manning, has attended since she was a child. It is a free community celebration. That's right, I said free. It's going to feature good food, good music, games, jumpers, and activities for the whole family. But it's also an opportunity to give back. We'll be collecting clothing, toiletries, and other essential items for our unhoused community because honoring and celebrating freedom also, excuse me, also means showing up for our community and supporting each other during a time we all need it most. With all of the ongoing attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's even more important that we continue to uplift one another and stay committed to the fight for equity and justice and do it while having a good old time. So I hope all of you guys are able to join us. The flyer is there on the screen. It's on June 27th from 11:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Come, bring your family, bring your friends, donate if you're able to, and most of all, prepare to have some fun. All right. Hope to see you guys.
Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, thank
Looking
you, Sam,
forward
for
to it.
sharing that. Next, we're going to call on Maisha, who will share back on Pride Month. You're on mute, Maisha.
Okay, there we go. How's everybody? Thank you. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Sam, for that. My name is Maisha. I'm an LDO, Leadership Development Organizer with the local. I'm also the treasurer for Outreach Consistency Group. And I'm just going to give you a little updates about what we're doing this month. Every month, we have a outreach meeting that happens on the second Wednesday of each month at 5 p.m. at the LA office, also via Zoom. So we encourage you guys to please join. They have flyers. I don't know if they're going to put them up there. Thank you. Please come out. We get together, we talk. It's a safe space for all of our members in the community for LGBT plus members, along with the allies like myself. And it's a safe space, general, a non-judgmental area where we can just have general conversation and get to know one another and talk about I want to say the issues. I don't want to use the wrong word. The issues that that is going on in the community. So please join us every second Wednesday, and it happens to be tomorrow is the second Wednesday of this month at 5 p.m. So if you want to be via Zoom or at the office, please come down and join us at 5 p.m. Also, happy Pride this week on Sunday at 8 a.m. We're also going to be meeting at the LA office to get together to meet so we can have a small little quaint breakfast before we all join together at 9 o'clock to take the train down to LA Pride Parade, the 56th annual Pride Parade that we're going to be having, where you can come out, show your colors, be yourself, be with other people that are out there and just loving themselves and loving on each other. It's for everyone. Please come and join us. We're going to be walking with the LA Fed, UTLA, UHW. Come dress their press, wear some good shoes, rollerblades, show your pride and be out there, and everybody's welcome. So please, we're here for all the community. You don't have to necessarily understand, but just be there for us. Thank you. Happy Pride.
Hey, I have a question about Pride. Was there another Pride parade this last weekend already?
Yeah, there was. That was Hollywood.
Okay, so there was Hollywood Pride, and then where's LA Pride?
LA Pride is going to be pretty much LA, like Hollywood is considered LA Pride, but it's going to be on Sunset and Highland. It's going to start off at 11 a.m.
Okay, Sunset and Highland. Okay, because I
Yeah,
saw like a bunch of people went last weekend, so I was like,
that's
wait,
because
what's that?
it's a lot of us out here. So,
I
we got
know.
to do it several days. We got to get
Okay.
it off.
Yeah, I think Long Beach out there too, right? So thank you, Maisha. Thank you.
Oh, I
Thank
see.
you.
Yeah, so West
Uh,
Hollywood, okay. West Hollywood was last week, and LA, which
Yeah,
is in Hollywood, Hollywood.
Hollywood. Yes.
Okay, thanks for the clarification. I was confused.
Thank you.
thank you both for sharing back. Our next meeting will be September 8th. So again, our apologies for the poll not working. We will make sure we have it up and running, and we'll be able to report back both the reports that we wanted to do today and the ones that will be for the next meeting on September 8th. And again, that meeting will be our third general membership meeting that will also take place on Zoom, and our fourth general membership meeting for the year in December will be in person. I believe we're going to have an LA office, Camarillo office, and there might be another office, but we'll definitely share that information out with plenty of time.
Yeah, I think
Any
we'll try to do it. We'll try to do it so that everyone has access to be able to get to
correct?
some one, well, at least one meeting.
Yeah. So, any remarks for the good and welfare? All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Have a good rest of your evening, and we will talk soon. Thank you all.